Top five, top five, top five.
So time to go back with another video. I'm Strange One. He is Nate. Today we're doing top five Eddie Murphy movies because of coming to America. Because he's the best. So he's gonna tell you how the list works, and I'm gonna start off my 5 and 4 when he gets done.
So, like he said, he's going to give his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means that if we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we won't talk about it until we get to it on their list.
So my number 5 is going to be Harlem Nights. This is where the top 5s kind of are bittersweet, because I love doing top 5s. It's my favorite kind of types of videos to do. But this is Eddie Murphy. The title says Eddie Murphy movies, but we really mean Eddie Murphy performances, because you gotta make the YouTube title, give it that little bit of, oh, watch this, performances. I'm not a big film buff. I'm gonna stay away from this. More like for the general audience. So for his performance, I put him number 5 because you look at that time, the 3 greatest comedians of all time, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, and Eddie Murphy. He has those 2 cats to work off of, which is like. And personally, I think that's Richard Pryor's best film because his acting is different from anything he's ever done, and he kills it. But Eddie Murphy, it's kind of like what he was doing on stage with Raw. I could see a lot of those jokes and bits being in one of his skits, like when it was Raw or something like that, because it's hilarious.
Obviously.
But it's like, I feel like I've seen it before.
Yeah.
And this is just giving it like, all right, he's kind of a gangster. They're running an underground casino. Like, it's cool, but I've seen it before. One of the funniest movies ever. So underrated. But Eddie Murphy's performance doesn't work as well if he isn't working off 2 of the greatest comedians of all time. Which is why it's my number 5. My number 4 is Trading Places.
It's my number 3.
So, again, Eddie Murphy, funny as hell. But he has Dan Aykroyd to work off of. Dan Aykroyd coming off SNL. Also, funny as hell at this time. So you put them together, you don't have to carry as much as the load. But again, these are the types of shit we would see Eddie Murphy do on SNL himself. Like when he did Mr. Rogers' Parody, that personally reminded me of something his character would do with the fucking cripple.
Yeah.
So doesn't make it any less funny though. Amazing movie. Eddie Murphy, off the charts. Hilarious. Working off of him, showing a little bit of range. He can be a hustler. He can also be a businessman.
Yeah.
And then, boom, Jamie Lee Curtis's boobs. That's like, you talk to people, like the guy we know who loves 80s and 70s movies.
Mm-hmm.
Big part of that movie for a lot of people are her boobs.
Yeah.
They're very nice.
Which is really sad that, that's what people care about the most. But anyways, yeah, it's my number 3, mostly because of, just like how you pointed out, is that he has to play like a transitional character here a lot. Like, well, I mean, not a lot. He has to play a transitional character. In that he's going from playing like this obnoxious, like, which, I mean, that's a fair word to describe a lot of Eddie Murphy roles. And not always in a negative way. Like, if it fits the character and it's funny, then that's great. So the super obnoxious, just like, street level, like, con artist, and then like progressively like adopting this new life essentially, right? And like this, I love this movie because it tackles a lot of like things that I'm interested in, like the idea of nature versus nurture, and also the dangers of the 1% and capitalism and greed. So like, it's a really good movie, and he really shines in it a lot because like he does do a really good job of making that transition, and that's what put it up there on mine. So my number 5, it was tough. I wanted to go Daddy Daycare.
Why?
I did not. I went with Dreamgirls.
Solid.
Yeah. So like, not his movie per se, but you explained already. We're talking about performances. So like that movie, I really like that movie a lot. I think it's a fantastic movie personally. And like the vibe it gets off, like he just, I feel like he just kind of wraps himself up in like what the vibe of that movie is, right? The idea of like these old school stars, old school, it wasn't that long ago, but the way he just inserts himself into that world, and like I think he shows a fair amount of like a little bit of emotional range in that film as well, as to where like in his other films he's showing like comedic range, and that I can be funny as like the more elegant guy, I can be funny as like the, you know, like low level street guy. So that's why it's my number 5.
I'll say, because like, again, with these top 5s, these are our favorite performances.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that's his best performance of all time.
Wow.
Didn't make my list though.
Fair. So my number 4, taking a big swing in the other direction, even though I absolutely despise what the internet has turned this movie into, and I personally don't even care for the movies that much, mostly because of how they are now. But I will never, ever, ever not really appreciate how difficult voice acting is. So for number 4, I went with Shrek. Again, I really don't even like the movies that much, and Shrek memes are trash. Looking at you, Trevor. But anyways,
SHT.
No, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, he's funny in it. They gave him some really good lines. He put his own nice little twist on it, and like, yeah, voice acting is really difficult. And I always just have an immense amount of respect for actors that pull off a really like phenomenal voice acting performance, because you're kind of doing it a little bit blindly. You don't always have. Sometimes they do it remotely. So you don't even always have someone in the room with you to like bounce lines off of and things like that. So you literally just have to picture it, and you have to go with what you feel like fits it. And this movie, despite my personal like qualms with it, is like, I mean, it's in the National Film Registry now. Like they put it in there this year. And like everyone, like Donkey is like a very recognizable character. Like if you quote the lines that he spit out in this film, everyone's gonna know what you're talking about, and I think that deserves some credit.
I guess.
My number 3 is going to be 48 Hours. Why is it 48 Hours? Because if you watched, I don't know, like 10 of our videos, maybe at least 10. You know, you somewhere I'm gonna be like, I love movies that deal with the racist characters. But because it's a movie and you're not interacting with a movie, because a movie's not going to talk back to you, you have to sit there and listen. Just like shows like Sanford and Son, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, because you have to sit and listen. Yeah, the characters are racist, but them in the movie learning a lesson and understanding is teaching you a lesson subconsciously. And that's what I love about this movie, because Eddie Murphy is a criminal. Nick Nolte's a cop. Obviously, cops in the 80s, not the best. So we have this cop who's like calls Eddie Murphy the N-word with the hard ER, calls him watermelon, and Eddie Murphy hits him right back. Honky, pig, stuff like that, you know. Obviously, they're more funnier because it's dialogue, and Eddie Murphy's comedian, he has comedic timing, so it's much funnier than how I'm putting it.
No shit.
You have these two people who really don't like each other, and it's rooted in like your criminal and racism, like cop, criminal, racist, black, white, and these two people working together with a common goal, learn to understand each other, and to honestly like each other by the end of the movie.
Yeah,
that's what I love about it, because you have all this deep level of friendship over this one movie. And obviously, it shows Eddie Murphy, he can do the action stuff, which I'm going to talk about later, most definitely. And he can be serious. Like, this is a great scene where Eddie Murphy goes into this redneck bar, and he's like super serious. He starts fucking with these cowboys because they won't give him information because they're like, oh, you black, you know, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, I'm your worst nightmare. I'm an N-word with a badge. And it's like, but he doesn't mean it funny, but he's like seriously acting. It's like, yeah. Okay, you've been funny, then you're serious. Okay, like there's a lot of range in his performance. Obviously, the comedy stuff he has down pat, but because of the seriousness and the action that I haven't seen from Eddie Murphy movies before, was like, I love this movie, and he's fucking great in the movie. I couldn't picture anyone else being in this movie. He elevates the movie, so it had to be my number 3, because this is like we're getting in territory where it's tough for me personally, being a huge Eddie Murphy fan. Number 2 for me, Beverly Hills Cop.
That's my number 2.
Sweet. So again, this is the kind of stuff Eddie Murphy's known for. the like smart assery, you know, like
Yeah.
slipping the bananas inside the cop car, tailpipe, what was it? Tailpipe.
It's a
right?
tailpipe.
Yeah.
And like sending him room service. Even,
Yeah.
like all that stuff.
Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. His mouth is like the words, the insults, the comebacks, everything he says is hilarious in this movie. But he holds his own when it comes to the action stuff. Almost like a John McClane type character. Like you believe he has some sense of ability to stop crimes, but he's in way over his head.
Yeah.
Type deal. And you have that underdog setting because he's not Schwarzenegger by any means, but you like him because he's so fucking funny, and you get behind him because he's also underdog, which makes this performance and this character one of the most likable film characters. Definitely in all the 80s, but in cinema of all time, me personally.
I'm with him 100% of the way.
You know, Axel Foley's a charmer motherfucker.
Yeah.
Everyone likes him. Even Damian Wayne's gay character in the movie likes him. I'll give you a banana later. Whatever he says.
Yeah. So I think what I like about it is that like, I mean, I don't want to beat like the range thing into the ground, right? But like in terms of his whole body of work, like this isn't just like wacky comedic Eddie Murphy. Like the comedy in this movie is like a little more slick, right?
Yeah.
It's all very situational, and it usually comes from him like being a sarcastic ass to someone else.
Yeah.
But like still doing it in such a way that it's like, I mean, I really think it boils down to his motive. This dude's trying to get the motherfuckers that killed his best friend, who he stayed friends with despite the fact that they went as opposite in life as you could possibly be. So it's like, this guy is not judgmental.
I mean, the first time we see his best friend, he breaks into his apartment.
Right.
You know?
It's they're interracial friends. So like neither, like it just, this guy has like no judgmental aspects to him at all. And his motive, is incredibly pure. So it's like he could do anything to anyone, and I'm going to be like, yeah, how dare you try to stop him from going outside of the law to find who killed his best friend. But like, I love that about it. And I agree with like a lot of what you said. I guess I'd have to sit on it more, but like he is incredibly likable in this movie.
And another part why he's so likable, I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're fine.
But I remembered it because like I didn't rewatch movies for this list. I've seen these multiple times. I just love Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
One of the best police captains of all time.
You took the chief or
The chief.
Yeah.
The black chief.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best. But you have all these people that like fuck with Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Which makes him more likable.
Yeah.
And even the two cops, you know, they like, no, he ain't so bad. And if you watch the sequels, they're fucking friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Fucking great.
Yeah, I think like, you know, even just to add more of like how good he is in this movie, he just does such a good job of like his facial acting is really good. So like he sells it so well when he's being charming and funny. But then when they're at the strip club and those two guys come in to burglarize it, and it's like he's so smooth with it. Like the way he transitions from just like fucking around with the guys he brought there to like you can tell, like even I believed it when he's like showing the sergeant like how serious he is being right now. And it's like just the way his face looks is just almost saying, I know I've been fucking with you all day, but like I need you to like listen. And he buys it, and I bought it too. And like that's a good performance.
Yeah. I think they did the one he wore in Delirious too. But it definitely used the one he wore in Raw. The fucking red leather jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And he gets in LA, he walks past him and starts laughing. Like, such good comedy moments. Like, one of the best movies of all time. Like, action comedies, I think, of all time.
Oh, yeah. If next time we do action comedy, 100%.
First time you've seen this movie was The Day, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Favorite scene in the movie?
Do what?
What's your favorite scene in the movie?
That's tough.
A lot of good scenes. How many wings would you give it out of 10?
How many wings would I give it out of 10?
Easier question.
Probably like, I don't know. Do we stick to 0.5s or do we go
You can
between?
do 0.3.
I would go
0.8.
It's tough because there is like just some 80s shit that like watching for the first time now like detracts a little bit. Like these dudes are blasting at them with machine guns and like they're outrunning bullets. And I know that's so nitpicky.
Nobody reloads.
I totally get that. It's just like I'm spoiled by modern action.
Okay.
Right?
You don't love 80 movies like I do either.
Yeah, that's true. Which that's actually another good point. I hated the soundtrack to this movie. Like 80s synth music, I just can't stand it.
80s music only works in 80s movies.
Again, but Trading Places had a score, and Trading Places had one of the I love this. Like it's honestly kind of I'll pay attention to movie music. I know I'm going back and talking about a movie we talked about already, but I didn't say this. Like the score in Trading Places was phenomenal to me because it had so much like old Hollywood elements to it, and I freaking loved it. Beverly Hills Cop has a lot of like 80s synth like pop in it. It uses Michael Jackson music, which like I respect him as an artist. I don't like, controversy aside, I've just never been like, that's just not my kind of music. I just don't like
honestly
that kind of music.
I think he sings on one of the songs.
He does
because he was a singer.
No, he does.
Because he had
well, and even when he checks into the hotel, he tells them that that's who he's interviewing with Rolling Stone. I probably give it like an 8.7.
Okay. If it wasn't higher than a 7 out of 10 wings,
yeah. No. I was just deciding if I was going to give it a full 9 or not. And after talking about those little things that did irk me a little, the music was like the big one for me. Like,
yeah. Most 80s music sucks unless it's in like movies, then you can get over it.
Yeah.
Our number one, because I can see your list from down there. Coming to America.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking, I just did a movie review on it. I don't know when it's coming out and when this is coming out, so I'm gonna let you talk first.
Okay. Yeah. So I can't think of another movie where I've seen a comedic actor like play this type of role, right? Because it's like you're playing someone outside of your nationality who is royalty, and I think it even makes it even funnier at the time that this was in Eddie Murphy's career because he hadn't jumped into all that like whack family shit yet. So before he's been like, the fuck you, motherfucker. Like, you know, he's crass, and like, I love that.
Even like all of his other characters in the film are.
Correct, yeah. So seeing him like switch into this like regal, like sheltered in terms of like Americanism, like, so when he gets there, like, obviously it's like a culture shock film, so like the cluelessness, but like, he's so nice. And that's just like not normal Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And then like they throw in like the fact that like they're like fucking hand-to-hand combat experts and like all this other stuff. I love that about it a lot. That character is super likable and dumb, but not dumb. He's not really dumb. He's just dumb when he's somewhere that he's not where he's used to being. And if I went to his country, I would be dumb too. But the way he sells that and navigates it, I love the buildup of the romance in the film. This has nothing to do with Eddie Murphy's performance. I feel like the last like 7 minutes of the movie are like super rushed. Like,
it's a very predictable movie, yes.
But it's not even the predictability of it.
Well,
it's
yeah,
just like, and then this.
Too.
So I feel like we had really good pacing the whole time, and the last 7 minutes are like, and this, and this, and this, and like, so that just disappointed me. But the only reason it disappointed me was because of how much I loved everything up to that point, and almost all of that is because of how like hilarious and charming Eddie Murphy is in this movie, and he plays like 4 or 5 different characters in it, and they're all really funny too. So.
And that's one thing that you said was really funny, and you said a lot of it's like the not used to being there.
Yeah.
But there's different types of comedy. There's prop comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You look in the very beginning, her dress takes like 30 to 45 seconds to come in the room.
Right.
And we see something from Eddie Murphy we're not used to seeing, and that's a facial expression.
Yeah.
Performances, we're hitting it. We see the milkshake throwing out at Arsenio Hall's character. You know, we see... There's different types of comedy. Like there's another. I said Marvy. I forget. There's other like slapstick-esque moments in the film.
Yeah.
But Eddie Murphy as Akeem is honestly, minus Lisa, is the least funniest character in the movie.
No, correct.
Which is great because it's like everything else is so funny, but their relationship so charming. It's just like okay, like, and like everyone in this film was like such a character.
Right.
And it makes New York City a character. And that just adds to the humor when he's so happy because he finally knows that Lisa likes him, and he was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And he just keeps singing this fucking incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Like it does have its problems. Like, it is very predictable. Like, you know where it's going.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me though. Like,
No,
I
like,
expect predictability in that type of movie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they could have did a couple more things to be like, Keem's not gonna get her.
Well, I think that's the part that makes it feel rushed to me, is because they try to sell it like he's not, and like, okay, yeah, we know she's gonna pop back up, but it's from that point when he leaves America and goes back, then it's like just bam, 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 and it's like if you'd given me like a little bit more of a build to that moment where he like she's the one under the veil, then I think that would have like really pushed it over for
like
me.
a talk with his dad, like. And James Earl Jones was like, "Yo, that's just how it is.
Yeah,
you gotta deal with it." Or his mom, because his mom's way more understanding.
Right? Yeah.
But just because someone's mother named him Cassius Clay, what do you call him?
I'm gonna call someone whatever they tell me they want to be called. But
I'm named Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
But I don't really. Like, I don't have that many major convictions about it. I might accidentally call them something else.
So if someone's bringing up the greatest boxer of all time, are you going, since you are a white man, are you going to pull Rocky Marciano out your ass?
No, I'm going to say that, I really don't know anything about boxing, so my opinion carries almost zero weight in this conversation. But it's probably Muhammad Ali, and that's only just because that's the name that I hear all the time, and I have no clue if he's actually the best boxer of all time.
His mama named Clay, I'm going to call him Clay.
And any boxer named Rocky can kick rocks, so.
Well, Rocky Marciano beat Joe Lewis's ass, and Joe Lewis is a bad motherfucker. The barbershop guys are the fucking best part of that movie.
That is, like, I'm super, 200%. I can't wait to see where they, like, what kind of jokes they try to pull. We saw a little bit of the trailer, and it was funny. And, like, that's the stuff that I get, like, I'm so scared when they try to bring characters back and, like, comedy styles back from 80s and 90s films and do now. But the barbershop scene in the trailer for Coming to America looked great.
And even those characters, they are layered. There's just not one comedy bits. Wait, what kind of sprays you using here? I don't know, spray. It's just berries and whatever he says, like juices or something.
Just the one random Jewish guy. Yeah.
No, the guy cutting hair.
Oh yeah,
he's like, goddamn.
Oh
I
yeah,
think he's too much here.
No, you're right.
And he's like, I want to look more modern to fit in. And he's like,
yeah, I want to look like Michael Jackson.
That'd be $8.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
and he turns back and looks at Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
Who's just like.
So I watched it. I did watch this movie a couple weeks ago because I needed to review it. Who does he fuck in that movie to have a son in the second movie? Did you see it?
No, I saw nothing.
They could have added that.
Yeah.
That, he didn't get the girl of his dreams. Someone throws a pussy at him.
Yeah, well, they have that one scene where, like, you know, he has his little speed dating session, but he doesn't like any of those girls. And then...
That's fucking funny.
If they want to make it really twisted, they'll make it her sister.
Yeah.
But...
Well, she did give him a hand job at the basketball game.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, well, I mean, it wouldn't be too far-fetched for them to say, hey, off-screen, they hooked up.
I mean, Arsenio Hall got a piece of that ass for sure.
Correct.
That's facts. But tell me your thoughts about all these Eddie Murphy films. What's your top 5 Eddie Murphy movies? Down in the comment section. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.